Hey guys, so in this video, I'm gonna cover 4 high ground retakes that will actually work in game. All that means is that they're not flashy, they don't use a ton of mats, and they keep you protected on your way to regain high ground. The last retakes video I did focused more on advanced stuff, which you guys definitely seem to enjoy. But I think it's time to get back to the more straightforward and practical techniques. For each retake, I'll show what it is, how to do it, why it works, and then an in-game example if applicable. So without further ado, let's start with one of my new go-to retakes from the World Cup champion himself, Bugha. Begin by scissor ramping up, and then, whenever you decide to, turn around and do an extended thryfo cone. This is just a normal wall on top of your ramp, and a cone on top of that. But you add one more cone to extend it out. You're then gonna floor the extended cone off, and edit the 2 right tiles of both the floor and cone. From there, place a cone that's connected to the cone you just edited up into a ramp. Also, place a wall and a ramp that you will jump onto. Now, here comes the difficult part. What you're gonna do is run up under the cone and edit the top left tile. But as soon as you confirm the edit, you're gonna look straight down and place a floor. It is extremely important that you do that, because if you don't, the cone will break and you'll fall down from height to your death. We do not want that. So again, edit the cone and look directly down at your feet to place the floor. Lastly, place a floor out to the side and a ramp on that you can then use to finish with a 180 or 90s, or even go into another retake. At full speed, you can see you're always protected by cones, you're never doing anything too fancy or too complex, and you will easily juke out any player on high ground with the last move. One helpful tip if you're struggling at the end is to come at the cone from an angle. You basically want to run towards it, going right to left, and then duck even further left as you complete the edit and place down the floor. This way, you will never lose any momentum and you're still running at full speed the entire time through the edit. Here's a clip of Booga using it in a 1v1, and you can see how effective it is at not only getting high ground, but also making Booga impossible to track. You could easily edit through the final cone and keep double ramping up. You gotta ask yourself though, would that have faked your opponent out? The answer is most likely not. So if you're looking for a very straightforward yet advanced retake that you shouldn't have any trouble doing on PC, on console, or even on mobile and Switch, then learn this one as soon as possible. Moving on, our second retake is a combination of different moves I've seen used by various creative warriors that when you put them together, it creates something insane. Start off by scissor ramping up as per usual, and then when your top ramp is extended out past your bottom one, place a cone on top of it. After that, place a wall in front of you that's basically between the 2 ramps, as well as another wall to your left. Edit the bottom right corner of the wall like this, and place 2 more walls. One should be across from you, connected to the wall you just edited, and the other one should be next to it, in the direction you're going to keep building in. Follow that up by building a ramp, which you're gonna jump on, and a ramp above you for protection. Then, do that whole thing again, but this time to the right. So cone the top ramp, put a wall in front, a wall to the right this time, edit the bottom left corner of the wall, build 2 ramps starting from the right, and then 2 more ramps to continue scissor ramping up. I learned this redirect from both Parallel Connor and Evade Tweaks, who kinda came up with it at the same exact time. You basically change directions without slowing down, and it's pretty much impossible for you to get shot while doing it. Back to the retake, and the last thing you're gonna do is place a ramp and floor at the end of your scissor ramp, and then do an elevated cone jump. This is simply a normal cone jump, except you land on a ramp for extra verticality. I recommend finishing with a simple 180 after that, since the cone jump you're doing is not protected, and this is when you should be going straight up for height. The main reason I chose to include this retake is because it's different and it's unique. This is something that really helps in build fights because your opponent won't know what to expect or how to track you. On top of that, You can steal and add the change of direction from tweaks to any retake you want. It's so versatile that it will literally work in the simplest of retakes, as well as the more complex ones like he does here. It's all up to how you decide to use it and make it fit into your own building style. The third retake is one of the most mat efficient retakes you'll come across that was popularized by the young god FaZe Dubs. Start off by scissor ramping up, and then when your bottom ramp is extended out past your top one, cone the top ramp as well as in between the two ramps like I do here. You're then gonna edit the two front tiles of the cone, place another cone on top of the edited one, and run up the ramp so you're directly under it. From there, you're going to start an edit on the already edited cone. Reset the tiles and edit it into a ramp going the opposite direction. So I know that's confusing. At full speed, be sure to reset the tiles and make the edit in one swift jump. Then follow that up by editing the top left tile of the next cone and placing a wall. This wall needs to be placed immediately after the edit. It's there to prevent the cone from breaking and screwing up the whole move, kinda similar to what we saw in the first retake. Anyways, once you do that, you're again going to start an edit on the already edited cone, reset the tiles, and edit it into a ramp. You should be above or even with your opponent at this point in the build fight, so you can finish with a 90 to secure high ground. This is probably the most difficult retake out of the four, obviously because of all the edits and re-edits you have to make. Once you do get it down though, it's so insanely smooth and clean. Your opponent will have no idea where you are or where you're coming out of, and there's never an opportunity to take damage or get shot. Plus, you barely use any materials as you're always reusing pieces you've already placed. All in all, this retake is #itsJerian approved. For the fourth and final retake, we're gonna look at a gem I found on Reddit by user catflute69. You should begin by guess what? Yep, scissor ramping up. Then you're gonna cone above your ramp and in front, just like the last retake. However, instead of running up and editing the far cone, you're gonna turn around and do a reverse jump. This involves putting a wall behind the top ramp, another one out to the side, and then a ramp connected to the far wall. As you jump onto the ramp, you want to place a cone above you to shield you from damage and to keep you protected. Then comes the cool part. You're gonna place a wall above the cone for protection on your cone jump, and do an elevated cone jump like I showed before. For the last part of the retake, do a 180 and extend a cone out on the ramp. Your opponent should be ramping towards you at the same exact time, so to throw them off and get high ground, put a wall in front of your ramp, one to the side, and then ramp off that other wall up for high ground. When you do this fast, it's one of the best retakes for actually getting height. There's no stupid ramp flips or crap you see in the majority of new retake videos. This is simple, it's practical, and it's effective. The only problem you might have is consistently making that cone jump at the end. My advice is to jump early and look straight forward, then down to place the floor and ramp. A lot of people seem to think you need to jump late to do an elevated cone jump, but that will actually mess you up most of the time. Your goal is to land down on the ramp so you don't phase through, which is exactly why I advise jumping early and looking forward while doing it. So it may not be game-breakingly new or something that you've never seen before. All we care about though is that it works. Overall boys, those are 4 of the most useful high ground retakes I know. I'd love to hear down in the comments below whether you guys prefer the fancy ones or simple ones like these, as I have no problem catering my videos to what you guys want to watch. I do have a feeling it's going to be the simple and useful ones like these though. Still, let me know down below. Also, if you learned something or you enjoyed the video, be sure to drop a like, subscribe to the channel, and to turn on post notifications. Shout out to each and every one of you guys using code itsJerian. You guys truly are the real MVPs, so even if you don't want to get shouted out, just know I still love you and appreciate you a ton. Otherwise, that's it from me, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Later.